So it's becoming increasingly clear that Assassin's Creed Valhalla is embracing the notoriously brutal way of the Vikings in its combat. Fighting in Valhalla is much more slower and more deliberate than anything we've seen before in a recent wave of RPG-inspired Assassin's Creed games. Gone is the more nimble, almost dance-like combat of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and although there are more parallels to be drawn between this and Assassin's Creed Origins, this is Assassin's Creed like you've never seen it before. Now it does help, of course, that this is new territory for this series. Assassin's Creed Valhalla takes us back to the Dark Ages, circa 873 CE, a period in which Norwegian Vikings began to settle on the shores of England. Now from what we've all seen so far, the game does well to balance the English and Viking elements, with a huge part of the story and the resultant violence tied to the clashing of the two cultures. Huge raids are a big part of the game too, both in terms of story and as one of many options of attacking an enemy camp, which is where we all got our first taste of exactly how bloody Valhalla's combat is going to be. What we wanted from the beginning is really this idea that the character is a Viking first, you know, says Eric Baptiste, the game director of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It's something very important to be sure that we are true to what the Norse were like in this time period. He continues adding that we want the player, without telling them directly, to live the drama that the Norse experienced in this time period. And a big part of experiencing what it might be like to be a Norse in this period of history means you are going to need to wrap your head around some heavy, cumbersome weaponry. In multiple playthroughs, people opted for wielding a large shield and an axe, which meant that parrying enemy attacks became an incredibly important component to the cycle of combat. A well-timed parry could send an enemy staggering back, giving them some space to get in a few attacks with the axe, or even send the foe crashing to the ground, offering up the opportunity for a head-crunching stomp attack and much more finishers that are within the game. But everything you do while fighting has to be precise, because the weapons are heavy, making them slow to physically wield in game. A missed swing will be a real blow to your attacking strategy, and it means that actually taking down an enemy can be immensely satisfying. One thing that you constantly need to be aware of though is that getting surrounded is pretty much a death sentence. Enemy attacks are slow, but they are deadly. Valhalla layers in strategy as much as it does physicality in its combat systems, forcing you to balance your basic attacks with perfect parries and dodges, and that's before we even got to the special abilities that you unlock as you progress. The one objective was also to increase the strategy for the player, but also to increase the number of challenges, explains Baptiste. Your new skills are really needed for enemies that you can easily bypass, so there might be a block or skill you need that you can earn to be able to defeat them in combat. A lot has been done to create a large variety of archetypes that are pretty different compared to what we used to have, but are more rich in terms of fresh strategies for the player. How key these skills and abilities will be for survival is laid bare in Assassin's Creed Valhalla's raids, staggering events that force you to balance a variety of threats at you at all times. These can range from lightly armed, no-named enemies to bow-wielding marksmen and a fast and deadly berserkers. And if they don't provide enough of a challenge, then there's also the kind of enemy that might make your knees tremble, the Slayers. If there were a need to utilize the full extent of your abilities and arsenal, it'll be the Slayers. Now Assassin's Creed Valhalla will give you the scope to decide what kind of Viking you want to be. The game comes equipped with 3 distinct skill trees, Bear, Wolf and Raven, that you can channel upgrade points into throughout the game, giving you the ability to really dial into your preferred style and approach to combat. Now we wanted to have some symbolic animal to represent the 3 directions of the skill tree. If we do a caricature, we could say that the bear is more of a warrior oriented element, the raven is more stealth oriented, whilst the wolf is more hunting orientated, explains Baptiste. But it's not only those 3 branches, because in each branch there's already a mix and variety of variable elements, so you can have new skills that are useful in combat, stealth, exploration, navigation, depending on the branch. It's not restrict, noting that the system gets even deeper once you begin matching your weapons to each branch on the system. Now the more you go into a branch, the more you will see that you specialize in one type of weapon and one type of trap. You can really define which tactic you think is best. Then the skills that you are going to learn will be very different depending on what branch you focus on. The beauty of this is that then you'll find that you have gear aligned to each animal focus, so investing in a certain specialism will reward in aligning you with specific weaponry. And if you realized you've messed up and want to start again, you can restart your constellation of abilities whenever you want. But thankfully whatever you choose, the game will never penalize you for the choices you make, which track you align yourself with, or how you choose to approach a situation in combat. Your strategy as a player does not impact the narrative of the story, apart from at that specific time. At that specific time, you really have a choice of strategy that can have an impact, but most of the time it does not. It's really the dialogue choices where you can really have an impact on the story. Sometimes it's like fighting someone or not not fighting them. But it could be even bigger, like you decide who is going to become the leader of a territory and you're ready to carefully choose who you put in that place because it will have consequences, says Baptiste. It's always tricky to draw a consequence based on what they did in combat because sometimes they don't realize that they've actually killed 20 people. Now, despite the fact that there's a huge focus on the brutality of combat in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, not to mention the physical and emotional weight of it, the game is still encouraging you to play how you want to play. Skills, abilities, weaponry, aggression versus stealth is all there. It's just a case of deciding what kind of Viking you want to be. So going on to the gear, every piece of gear is unique in the game and can be upgraded extensively so that when you find a piece of gear, you're excited and you celebrate it, and that can stay with you for quite a long time, Mick Devitt says. And it can be viable for a long time, so unlike in previous games where you had a piece of gear, if you found something better, you'll just get rid of it straight away. In this one, it will be viable for longer, which is great to see. Now, some generic weapons is that the fact is, with generic weapons, they will not be available. And by that, I mean the weapons dropped by enemies. Simply because the weapons are unique and it would be impossible. However, keep in mind that we are talking about weapons dropped by enemies whilst fighting, not weapons you can loot after killing an enemy. Regarding the level of your gear and how we will upgrade the weapons, I'm not going to go into detail because I'm going to cover it another time, but right now we're going to focus on what weapons we will see in the game. Now, I'm just going to run down a quick list because they're just weapons and I'll go more into depth in a later video. So first, we're going to have spears. Of course, you'll be able to throw them multiple times. Don't know how they would be. Would they be on our longship? Would they be on our back? It would be great to see. Bows are also back in the game. We've seen this from the gameplay and the trailers. Just like in Odyssey and Origins, you will have different abilities and skills you can use with bows, sort of, you know, like the Predator ability, using it to quickly get someone's kneecap taken off. And of course, we will have the axes. Another specific ability to these is throwing them all at once. This is very remnant of Assassin's Creed 3 with Connor Kenway, where we got to use his classic tomahawk, which I actually kind of think I want in the game. It won't be historically accurate, but it'll just be fun to use. Then also with the spears, you can get larger axes, which are great to see. Now with swords, this doesn't mean swords will not be available in Valhalla. You will be able to get swords, but these are primarily the tools of the Anglo-Saxons, the people we will be fighting. Now because of this, we'll be able to get them ourselves. Of course we can. They will be dropped as loot by the bad guys or probably in chests scattered around the world. Now a couple more weapons we can see is a flail and a hammer. Now most people claim that one of the screenshots still is Thor's hammers. No, that will actually probably be in the game though. Let's be honest, it's Ubisoft. They want to chuck in some Easter eggs to other franchises and Norse mythology, so Thor's hammer, an aspect of Thor's hammer will be in the game. And last but not least, we will be able to use shields, similar to how we could use them in Origins. The one thing I will say is that each and every single one of these weapons can be dual wielded. That means if you want 2 shields, you can have 2 shields, 2 axes, you can have 2 axes, 2 swords, etc, etc. The choice is up to you. So guys and girls, now I'm going to go on to talk about my giveaway. From now up until the launch of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I will be giving away multiple copies of the game on the platform of your choice. This means you can choose between PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, PS4 or PS5 for any edition of Assassin's Creed Valhalla that you want. Now for a chance to win, all you need to do is stay active within the community and on my channel. This can be by either subscribing, liking the video, commenting down below, or even following me on my Twitter and staying up to date there. The link is always in the description of my videos. So guys and girls, that has been it for this video. Hope you all have enjoyed this deep dive into the combat of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. If you have, remember to click the like button down below. Of course, remember to subscribe for some more Assassin's Creed Valhalla videos. And I want you guys to comment down below, what are you excited about in the combat of Valhalla? Do you like the new RPG element, or do you want it to go back to the classic one-hit kill of Assassin's Creed in the past? Hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video.